Very good. So I'm here with the two co-directors of a new documentary called Dory Previn on My Way to Where, which I had unique opportunity to see not that long ago. It was brought to my attention because there's a special screening going on in Great Barrington. What was that, like a month or two ago?
Less
Maybe
than a
about
month
2 months
ago.
ago.
Yep.
Really? Okay. And it turns out that one of the co-directors and I have this wonderful long history, which was so good. I was, when I found out Julia Greenberg, who is here, and the other, also I'm going to introduce Diana Dilworth momentarily, but Julia, when it was brought to my attention, like I said to us before we started this, like I thought, there's probably lots of other Julia Greenbergs around, but I was kind of like my gut was saying, no, I'm pretty sure it's going to be you, and then I was very excited about that.
It was a fantastic coincidence.
Yeah. And it's been a really, really, really long time. But, when we met at summer camp, and I believe I was there in Vermont, I was a counselor, you were a camper, and then over the few years that I was there, you became a counselor as well.
Hmm.
And we just kind of hit it off. We enjoyed singing together
Hmm.
and playing guitar together. And it's a very, very nice memories. So this is nice. There were a couple of instances throughout the years, I think, when I ran into you, maybe. But it's been a long time.
It really has.
And
What
you became
song
a
did you
film.
guys sing?
Oh my God.
Oh gosh. Well, it was the early 80s at a like hippie lefty summer camp. So it was some serious Neil Young and CSN and Paul McCartney and
Right.
Joan Armatrading.
Joan
I was going to
Armatrading.
bring the women
Right.
songwriters.
So yeah, last night I was home and I've been building this like wonderful vinyl collection again. Or it's been such a fun hobby for me. But and I have a couple of Joan Armatradings in there, and I'm really pleased with how they keep up. I mean, the production on one album was cheesy, but it still made me so nostalgic and emotional listening to it. Just because it was from that era that we're talking about, and I have a lot of positive memories from then. So of like music and how important it became to us all. It was a big part of that same summer camp. Music was pretty
Yeah, it was big. Yeah.
component. Yeah. And so tell me, you guys, how you connected and kind of the origin story of Dory Previn, on my way to where.
Well, our daughters go to summer camp together. So
Here you
keeping
are.
with that theme.
Is that actually true, or you just
Yes. No,
sounds like
it's
you're pulling my leg? Okay, wow,
100% true.
that's amazing.
Well, I can start, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, my odyssey with Dory Previn started quite a long time ago, and that I discovered her music very randomly on a mixed CD in a car. And the song that I heard off of Mary C. Brown and the Hollywood Sign, which is now streaming and you can listen to, was called
Oh,
The Holy Man on the Malibu Bus #3. And it just stopped me and the other passengers in the car in my tracks. And so learned all about her incredible career and output, and was just shocked by the fact that somebody who loves both Hollywood musicals and singer-songwriters, had never heard of her. So that was like in 2008, and I slowly started doing shows of her music, and in New York on WNYC, at Joe's Pub. And it got to Dory and her husband, and they, through a Facebook page, her stepson asked me to send a recording of one of the shows to them in the Berkshires, which I did. And, just all kind of like, whatever, of course. And then they called me like a couple days later, very delighted and effusive about my interpretations, and it sounded like if they weren't delighted and effusive, they would have told me so. So that was a bit scary. And
Yeah.
invited me and my husband to come meet them. So that was, like 2008, 2009 when I met Dory and her husband. And just spent years thinking about her music, writing about her music, singing her music, looking at helping them with her archives. And that's kind of where Diana came in, because it came into full swing during the pandemic, because I was like, I have to do something. I know all these incredible papers and recordings and photos are there. So I kept calling Diana in Switzerland and telling her about it. And sorry about that, I will turn this off. She basically encouraged me to make the movie. And, she's a movie maker, unlike me, who is a singer and songwriter. So I don't know, Diana, if you want to jump in.
Yeah, I mean, Julie and I talked on the phone a lot because we were very good friends, and she was always telling me about all of the process of like packing up and organizing Dory's archive, and she just had all these amazing letters and journals and recordings and just all of this interesting stuff. And I was like, oh, well, somebody should make a movie. And she was like, okay, you should make a movie. And I was like, okay, well, wait, I don't know. I'm like, you should make a movie. You really know the story, Dory. But then it became sort of evident that we both had different skill sets and that it would be great if we collaborated and made this movie together. And so I also have a house in the Catskills like Julia, and she's like, okay, we're going to drive over there to the Berkshires and go and see the archive, and you're going to meet Joey and you're going to meet some of Dory's friends, and we're going to decide. And on that trip, we got in the car, just kind of grabbed a camera and a mic, some gear. And as soon as we were there, it was really like, as I walked into Dory's house, I'm like, oh my God, we're making a movie about this. It just,
Why?
there just was like the feeling, you can really feel Dory in the house. Like, she painted parts of it. Joby, her husband's paintings are there. Her beautiful artwork and her instruments and just her life. You can feel it when you're there. And it was such an interesting story. And I do music documentaries, and I love this type of music. And obviously Julia is my good friend who introduced me to her music, and I had seen her perform the music so much. So it just felt like such a natural story that I wanted to be involved in and help turn into a documentary.
Right. I guess her circuitous route to I won't say fame, but I will say recognition, peer recognition, leaving such an archive or a trove of music, and also just all the kind of incidents in her life, and well, that's one and the same, I suppose, but it makes for really does make for an interesting story, and how she was, the different chapters, and there was such a lack of predictability about her life. Fascinating things happened to her, um, or by her choice or not. So it makes a great story.
Yeah, I mean, I knew it was a great story, especially, and I kept on thinking about it initially, kind of even before the film was a possibility, just that she took this walk, from like the 30s to the 2000s through through many moments in American history,
Yeah.
meeting and interacting with incredibly important historic incidents until the day she died. So like, she has an entire song cycle about the Hindenburg that has to do with her fear of flying, because she lived in New Jersey and it crashed a few miles from her house. And her father used to always talk to her about how one day her father, who was abusive, one day they're going to go up on that great balloon and fly to Europe. And, so it was just like, I could always see. And then then we had pictures of her with Georgia O'Keeffe, and there's pictures of her, she just walked through the world in this way. She met Fred Astaire. I have letters from Fred Astaire, from Harold Arlen, from Woody Allen, from Jackie O. And I was just like, she's like this Zelig kind of character.
Yeah, that was what
Yeah.
the name that occurred to me. Yeah.
Yeah. We didn't wind up making that movie actually, but that
Yeah.
was really what kept me so engaged in her story, besides feeling like her music is just the best.
Mm-hmm.
And her career was really interesting because she started so young as a chorus girl, as a dancer. Then she went to Hollywood and, got a job writing lyrics for film. And then, she even directed like a TV movie. She sort of was really like up for, I'm sorry, she wrote the screenplay for, I'm thinking of the director, but
Yeah.
she really was sort of like up for working. She wanted
Yeah.
to work in this creative environment, and she took opportunities that she had. And she was a woman back in those days, so it wasn't necessarily like she had a million opportunities, but she had different opportunities, and she did her best at them, and she was very creative. And I think
Right.
just taking all of that work and those jobs really made her good at what she did, because she just was, got up and went to work every day and had to write song lyrics. And so building on that, when she had things happen in her life and when she was kind of searching for her own, dealing with her own challenges, I'll say, she really had this like strong core as a songwriter, and a storyteller, and it helped her, craft things that had she not had those experiences, she might not have been as good or as like unique, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned challenges. Maybe you're referring to that she struggled with some mental illness, correct?
Yeah.
Um, and I mean, I was thinking, referred as being a woman going through some of these times. I mean, she did accomplish quite a bit, and something about her personality allowed her, or made it somewhat helped make her successful. She collaborated with um, Andre Previn, and later they obviously were married. And I would have, but he turns out, Julie, I think you told me this last time we talked, that, he really, I've actually really did encourage her. And even though obviously the marriage didn't last, but that, he wasn't threatened by her skills. And so there were a few guys that existed like that.
No, it's true. I mean, her origin story, which is, really, she writes about it in a always poetic and fascinating way, but it really is borne out by the evidence, was that, she was trying to be an actress and a model, but she was writing song lyrics and poems, which we have reams and reams of
Oh,
these, like,
really? Oh, those are the archives you were
yeah.
referencing earlier.
And some friend just said, send them to MGM. So there was some connection to Arthur Freed, who was he ran the Freed unit, which did all the big movie musicals at the time, including, Meet Me in St. Louis and Singing in the Rain. And, he was the guy. Not necessarily the greatest guy if you read about him, but a fascinating guy. And he just saw the lyrics and said, put her under contract and connected her, said, Andre will be your songwriting partner. So like, who does that happen? Like it's kind of magic from the very beginning. And even though that first contract that she was under with MGM it failed, like they didn't write songs that got into movies particularly, they fell in love, they honed their craft together, and then they were able to write songs on spec for all of these movies, like Theme from Valley of the Dolls, Inside Daisy Clover, Harper, Two for the Seesaw. And then she went on also to be paired with other composers like Harold Arlen, David Raxon. So she has I mean, if it ended right there, it would have been a fascinating story of a woman like Dorothy Fields or Betty Comden, who was in that system, kind of persevered. But it didn't end there, which is why the story, I think, is so juicy, because nobody did what she did, which was like be the suit wearing, like put together Hollywood lyricist lady. And then we can talk about what happened at the end of the 60s. Suddenly she's a lace top, bell bottom, afro wearing, aviator glasses, singer songwriter in the Laurel Canyon scene. So it's that, just that for especially women music lovers. And if you're very specific, women music lovers who both like classic Hollywood and Broadway music and the singer-songwriter oeuvre. She's like this wild figure because
She's the Venn diagram.
both. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So so if you're a fan, let's say of, Laura Nyro and Carole King, and I mean, I'm probably missing many of these amazing
Mama
songwriters, but
Cass,
Mama
just
Cass,
as a singer, like as a
yeah,
singer, like kind of
yeah,
combined.
theatrical, little
Yeah.
cabaret-ish sort of approach to the music, right?
Mhm.
Storyteller. This might be your person here. This might be your side, and her music is available. There's a fair amount out there.
Yeah. In fact, we are beyond delighted to tell you and the world that for Dory Previn fans, it's been a really difficult road because she has not been streaming forever. Two albums have been streaming, but her main output that is on Universal has not been streaming. So you could never share, if you got psyched, you could never share. And we don't know precisely why, but we hope that the interest that our film is drumming up has suddenly led to her entire catalog being available. So you can find all of her albums now on
Well, they
Spotify.
are available now.
They are now available as of like a month ago.
Oh, wonderful.
Go stream them.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. So it's on like your Spotify or your Apple Music.
Yeah, you can find them.
Wow, that must feel good.
I have to say, everything about this project has felt good. I mean, getting rejected from things and stuff doesn't feel good, but it doesn't
Well,
really
but
feel bad.
also the film again, it's called Dory Previn on My Way to Where, but had its world premiere at South by Southwest, which is definitely a good start for any film, in terms of the festival, your festival circuit, and that stage of getting the film out in the world. Um, where else did you guys? Where else did you guys play?
We showed it in LA at DKTR Fest. We showed it at North to Shore in Montclair, New Jersey. We've showed it now in the Melbourne International Film Festival, which was quite
That was
amazing.
recent, right?
That was very recent, yeah. And
Mhm.
we were so surprised and excited to see so many Dory Previn fans. A lot of times people come because they're curious and they think they might like it. Once in a while, there's some fans in the audience, but Australia was like packed houses with
Wow.
audiences who, we asked at the beginning, anybody heard of her, anybody like her, full hands raised. And at the end of our last screening, as the credits were rolling, everybody was singing Lady with the Braid. It was
Oh
so
wow.
surreal for us
Girl with the
as
braid.
directors to just experience that. So
Yeah. Well, weren't they also crazy about Sugar Man back in it?
That's South Africa, actually.
Oh, was it South Africa?
Yeah.
I thought it was Australia as well,
It
but
might
South
be
Africa.
Australia too, but his like crazy fame.
yeah, the
Yeah.
fame thing
Right.
was South Africa.
Yeah, but
Rodriguez.
there's similarities there for sure. And
Yeah.
also, I mean, I guess that, yeah, our hope and our suspicion, and I mean, what we think was going on in Australia is that Dory really is beloved in the UK and in Ireland.
Mhm.
She toured there. Our
Okay.
movie talks about how hard it was for her to tour there, but she toured there and made a real connection with audiences there, maybe in a way that she didn't in the US. So I think, so the people, so it is, the Commonwealth, the people who did come talk to us had seen her when they were living in London. And we're really excited and happy to say that we have our UK premiere happening at the end of October, on October 26th at the Barbican in London as part of the Dock and Roll Festival. So we're really gearing up and doing some other shows in other cities like Brighton, I think Hastings, where the schedule is being developed now. So we're really excited for the UK fans to get a chance to see the film, because always online and on our new, it's always like, when are you coming to the UK? When are we coming to the
You're
UK?
right. Of course.
So we're coming to
Yeah.
the UK.
Yes, we're
You
thrilled for
heard
that.
it here. Yeah, you're right. You heard it here. News breaking.
Yes.
It's great to, I think, use the festival circuit for a film like this. I think it's, a great way to get the film out and to create word of mouth and a buzz for the film. Because
Yeah.
I think it will definitely find a home,
Yeah, we hope so. We have a lot beyond the UK. We're going to be showing in Barcelona, and we're going to be showing in other spots across the US, Houston, St. Louis, Tucson. So we're coming to a lot of areas, and we hope, by getting out on the road and getting the film out there, we'll attract attention and grow our social media and so on, which is something that distributors look for. So if you're listening to this, go follow us.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. Well, hopefully
And
get
you'll
a
get
little,
to find out when we're coming to your town, and
right.
some
Right.
cool
And
Dory
but you can also request screenings. You can, you know, talk to your local theater or what have you, and you'd be surprised by, they want to show films where, there's going to be, because they don't know without getting some sort of interaction or feedback from people. So it's really great if you mentioned that you want to see Dory Previn on my way to where. I keep worrying that I'm going to screw up the title.
It's a very strange title. I mean, it doesn't, it's
Tell us where it
her
came
first
from.
album. It's the name of her first album. And it is a poem that features in one of the songs. And it's also a poem that is the title of a book of lyrics that was published around the same time. Dory had three kind of critically acclaimed books published as well, which we can talk about. But she's kind of asking the question. She's saying, I was on my way. What she's considering why she's been locked into a mental institution. Oh, I'm on my way. Where's my next of kin? Why have they locked me in? I was on my way to where? It's more of a question she's asking. But it is when it's presented as a kind of a statement, it can trip you up.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
I hope
also, I think it ties into the UK connection because one of her mental breakdowns happened on an airplane when she
on
was
an
heading
airplane on the way,
to.
which is, included in the film. Yeah.
Rory
It will
was very
continue.
obsessed with coincidences. She had an
Yeah.
album called Children of Coincidence, and
Ah,
and this whole process, there has been many coincidences, which has just been so fun because it feels like Dory would have enjoyed our filmmaking process. Um, Not every film is like this, but this one just kind of has that kismet to it.
Totally. Like the day we got into South by Southwest, where I was just sort of like, what is this thing we just did? We made this movie. I don't know, film festivals, what? And I was like, and I had a bad work day, and I was like, I'm putting my phone away and I'm going to go downstairs and hang out with my family. And I was like, I'm going to check the mail. And I checked the mail, and in the mail was a package from Dory's stepdaughter, Rika. In it was a pristine copy of her poetry collection called On My Way to Where. And I was like, look what Rika sent me. That's so thoughtful. And then I kept on hearing my phone bing, bing, bing
right.
upstairs. And I eventually went upstairs, and it was Amy Hobby, our amazing producer, saying we got into South by Southwest. I was like, it was literally like Dory was like orchestrating it from her
Right.
wherever it is that she is. And other coincidences, like you being the person who interviewed me, but really, like, it just keeps happening. I mean, Diana, tell the story of our archival producer.
Yeah, so as we were starting to do interviews and posting a little bit about what we were doing on social media, an old friend of mine called and was like, so you're doing a documentary on Dory Previn, right? I was like, yeah. He's like, we really need to talk. And he works in archival. And then he called me the next day. He's like, I have some Dory footage. And I thought he might have like a clip or two, because we had some of it we found on VHS tapes and boxes in Dory's attic and things. And then he called me and he had like 30 interviews of Dory and all on the original film or television, like very high quality, because he worked in an archival house. And he's like, yeah, I discovered this woman, Dory, and she was always on these talk shows. And he was sort of fascinated with her. And he was like, no one has ever called to request licensing for this. So we're going to work together on this. And, if you guys want. And it was like, the materials he had were just incredible. So it was very very special to have
Yeah, I
that.
mean, we would never in our wildest imagine. I just had no idea that she did that kind of television and BBC.
Yeah,
This person,
exactly.
fellow wonderful person's name is Ian Marshall. He
Yes, Ian Marshall.
runs Metro Video in LA, and he became
Exactly.
a producer on the film. But
Wow.
things like that just happened.
One of the
That's
funny
great.
things about that is that Dory did so many local LA interviews because she was afraid to travel. That's sort of what Julia was hinting about earlier when she said she had some
Right.
issues getting to the UK. I mean, she had amazing tours once she got there, but she was quite afraid to get there. But I think because of
You
that,
cut out.
maybe because of, oh, sorry.
That's not your, no, yeah, just repeat the, but you
Oh,
said
sure.
she,
I think
last sentence.
because she was afraid to travel, she perhaps she had requirements of publicity from her record company. I'm not sure, but she did a lot of local talk shows
Which
in
just
Los
makes sense.
Angeles.
Right, yeah.
So there's a lot of footage and more than were aware of because they weren't in her personal archives.
Right. Got it. Well, over the years, I've talked to many filmmakers who have made music documentaries, and I know that they have confronted similar challenges and probably, across the entire spectrum of challenge. So if you ever need, but with Amy Hobby on board, I have no doubt you're in good hands. But if you ever needed me to reach out to anybody, but let me know.
Sure.
Thank you.
If you, or just feedback from another filmmaker who dealt with these issues, maybe I can help in that way, or maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'd like
Yeah,
to.
definitely. We like to
Okay.
talk to anyone we can about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I wish you guys, obviously I wish you tons of success, and I'm so happy that you made this film and the opportunity came about to talk to you both and to reconnect with you, Julia, and to meet you, Diana. It's been a real pleasure. I hope we can continue with this, and not wait another 25, 30 years, whatever it's been.
Definitely will not wait another 25, 30 years. Oh, that
Okay.
might be how long it, takes me to like make my next film to be on your podcast, but there'll be other reasons to meet.
Well, we'll figure out some workarounds, I promise. Uh, all right. Well, let's stay in touch, and people can go to we'll send people to I think there's a website, right?
DoryPrevinDoc.com.
DoryPrevinDoc.com. We'll put that at the end, and the socials and are out there.
Yep. You'll find us. We're the only Dory
Sign
Previn
up, follow,
doc.
like, share, so
Like
you
do
can.
all that stuff.
Yeah.
If you see the film, do a letterboxd review.
Oh yeah, do that. Do the letterboxd review.
All this stuff probably helps tremendously.
Yeah.
It does. Thank you.
As does this podcast. So thank you, Adam.
Oh, well, thank you. All right. Have a wonderful day, and we'll be in touch.
You too.
Fantastic.
Thanks for
Okay.
nice to meet you.
Same here. Thank you.
Okay.
All right,
Bye.
guys.